Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today on the channel, we're going to be talking about this DeWALT Flexvolt DCCS670 X1/T1 chainsaw. Stay tuned. Alright guys, this is the DeWALT DCCS670 chainsaw. This kit right here, or everything I'm showing you right now, is the T1 kit. So in the T1 kit, you get the DCB115 charger. You get this little shroud or whatever you want to call this thing on it. Sorry. Woo! And you get this DeWALT Flexvolt battery. So on the X1 kit, you get the 9 amp hour battery. On the T1 kit, you get the 6 amp hour battery. So pretty much that's the only real difference between all the kits. The tool is exactly the same no matter which kit you get. So Flexvolt batteries, in case you didn't know, have 3 sets of 5 cells each. In 20 volt mode, all those cells are in parallel, which that's how you get 6 amp hours. But in Flexvolt tool, it becomes a 2 amp hour battery. And how do you get there? You divide it by 3. The reason for that is because they have 3 sets in here. All right, so when you put it in a 60 volt tool, these tabs get pressed in and it reconfigures this battery to pretty much a 1P configuration that puts all the cells in series. So interesting thing to note, in case you didn't know, we'll get rid of some of this stuff and we'll talk about this tool. So this tool only will run on Flexvolt batteries. You cannot run this on DeWALT 20 volt batteries. Okay, this is the Flexvolt tool only in Flexvolt batteries. So this is pretty much a DCCS670 tool. It's got all the basic functionality as you'd expect in almost every battery operated chainsaw and some of the gas chainsaws, but we'll go over some of the stuff real quick. It's got a 6-inch bar from Oregon. I'm calling it Oregon. You guys can call it Oregon if you want. It's got the chain brake. And the basic idea behind that is if you're cutting and it kicks back or you fall, whatever, let's do that again. Your arm, wrist, or whatever breaks the chain brake, chainsaw will stop running. Nothing will happen, okay? It's a little safety feature. It's got a little safety trigger right here, so you gotta press this in before you can press it. It does stick out a little bit. I didn't really get fatigued by it, but I could see how if you're left-handed, it's a little bit less comfortable for left-handed people, but that's just my opinion. I'm not left-handed. This is the same DeWALT grip that you would expect on pretty much all the tools. Same overmolding, same type of rubber. Feels pretty solid. This is pretty much plastic. Well, at least it has a plastic outside. I'm not sure if it's inside metal or whatnot. But this is not really the same type of rubber as this material. But no issue losing grip or whatnot. I don't only see that breaking unless you really go at it. So the oiling system is right here. So one of the first things you need to do when you get this is you need to put oil in here and you need to charge the battery. The battery does not come charged, as none of them ever do. You need to put oil in here. Putting oil in here is really simple. You take this up, you spin it a quarter of the way, you pull it up, put oil in there, put it back, close it. And on this is a self-oiling lubricating system. But on this, I would definitely recommend that you use thick oil, the thickest bar and chain oil that you can find, because it is a self-oiling system, and this one seems to lube pretty well. It'll be more tendency to leak, and plus stickier oil on bar and chain is better, in my opinion. This has a toolless chain tensioning system, and it's pretty interesting. So in order to tighten or loosen it, you just pull this back, loosen it, and then you can use this knob to either loosen or tighten the chain latch. See? Spin it. Look at that. Loose. All right. If I wanted to make it tighter, just put it back. We're not going to make this into what is the right tension for a chainsaw chain. I like it like that. And on this one, you cannot over tighten it. So pretty much once it gets to the tightest point that it thinks, it'll just start clicking and it won't ratchet any tighter. The idea behind that is they don't want you to over tighten it and break the little plastic off, okay? So if you go really hard at it, I'm sure you could break it, but I didn't really find a problem with it. That's pretty much all there really is to it. This has a little grill where it can exhaust some of the fumes or take in air. And that's pretty much it. It does have plastic bucking spikes. I'm not sure if I'm going to gripe about that too much, but I will gripe about it a little bit. On this chainsaw, it's plastic. And a lot of people are going to say you don't need metal ones, and that's okay. That's fine. But it would have been nice if DeWALT just spent the extra $2 or $1, whatever it is, to put the metal ones on there. And it's even got screws right here that it could have used, all right? So yes, you're not going to press too hard on it, but over time, hundreds, thousands of cuts will probably wear out. It just won't be there. So it would have been nice. That's one thing I would like to see improved on it. Yeah, I know DeWALT probably doesn't care. 16-inch bar, Oregon bar. It lubes really well. There is a, where is it? I'm not sure where it is, but anyways, we'll talk about that in a bit. This bar tensioning thing is actually pretty interesting. I'll talk to you a little bit more about that later. But let's talk about some of the cutting that I did. So I was able to use this a couple days, for a couple days straight. I went through 3 full cycles of this battery. 3 full cycles of this battery, and I got, I don't know, I didn't count, but a lot of cuts. So I'm pretty happy with it. I don't have too many gripes. I did test a bunch of other chainsaws at the same time. We'll throw up a head-to-head video sometime in the near future once we get most of those videos in. But anyways, I was able to cut this, or use this to cut pretty much either 14 all the way to 16 to 18 inch pine. And a lot of this pine was very wet, okay? As most of you guys know, very wet wood is a lot tougher to cut than dry wood, all right? And I don't mean wet wood in terms of the species of wood. I mean wet wood in terms of it was soaked in rain, right? Anyways, I was able to use this to cut a lot of the pine around where I'm at. That's most of the wood out here. And I didn't have a problem with it. The battery didn't overheat. It got a little warm, but it didn't overheat. I was able to go full throttle, wide open throttle. I guess on this not wide open throttle, but electrical equivalent to wide open throttle. Pretty much full performance using this, and get straight 8 cuts in the full thing, and then it was no problem. Chain didn't loosen up, it didn't overheat, tool didn't overheat, battery didn't overheat, it was fine. So I think it's pretty much a good tool. I did use it also. I also tried to bury the bar perpendicular in terms of the full wood, and as most of you guys know, or most of you guys using chainsaws know, that's probably a very difficult cut in terms of difficult for the tool, especially since you're going that way. You're also going to be getting long shavings, and a lot of the long shavings also clog this up. Clogs up just the same, if not just as quickly as the normal chainsaw. Okay, I'm used to using an actual chainsaw. So anyways, I was able to bury the full thing, no problem. It didn't overheat. It did cut out maybe once or twice, but that was primarily because I was pressing really hard on it. So with this tool, as almost any other tool that cuts, you just want to let the tool do the work. You do not want to be pressing on it really hard. You do not want to be pushing or bucking on it really hard, because it will stall out. And it did stall out a couple times, but just let it off, get back on it, and it's back to normal. All right, so I was able to cut through it fine. I was just not out there getting runtime tests. But if you are getting this tool or using this tool, I would highly recommend you get the 9 amp hour or 12 amp hour batteries, especially because you get a little bit more performance out of that. I did try it one time with a 9 amp hour battery that I have, so I did not have a 12, and it seems to feel just a hair better on the performance. So I would definitely use something like that if I were you. Anyways, buried the full thing, no problem. Cut all the pine, no problem, it was fine. So like I said, there's nothing too much to it. I'll throw out some clips towards the end where you can see it cutting. Works perfectly fine. If I was a professional tree landscaping, I don't know what you call it, arborist or whatnot, it would be good. I think it would make sense for some of those guys to maybe carry something like this, or a small battery operated chainsaw, just in case they get called to a job and it's just small ones, or if you're just limbing off some of the limbs off a bigger tree, it's fine too. I could see maybe someone in the light tree maintenance business taking care of this. So on this, I'll throw up an interesting point for you guys. So as some of you guys know, Stanley Black & Decker bought rights or ownerships or whatever to the Craftsman lineup. And there is a Craftsman V60 chainsaw, which you can get for about 80 bucks. If you don't know how to do that, watch one of my earlier videos on how to get the Craftsman V60 chainsaw for about 80 bucks. But that tool feels almost exactly the same as this tool. And I bet they share a lot of the internal components, if not the exact same internal components. One of the few things is even this, you can take this whole thing off here, this chain tensioning, what do you call this, guard or whatever you want to call this. If you take this thing off, you can put this on the Craftsman chainsaw, like a drop-in replacement, and it will work perfectly fine. It is the exact same one, but the Craftsman one will not fit on here stock. It has a little bit extra plastic right here on the end that sticks out that stops it from fitting on here. But if you shave it off, it'll fit. I'm not going to shave mine off. But anyways, this is what it looks like without the guard on. See this thing here, this tool chain tensioning system moves this little nub forward and backwards. But that's pretty much what it looks like. You can swap out the bars too, and it's perfectly the same. So that's what it looks like. I would highly recommend, as most of you guys using chainsaws or already know, that you clean this tool after every use. And I like to clean mine with just WD-40, compressed air, and a rag. And with that, you can get, all right, it's being a little bit difficult now. Sorry, guys. And you can get it really clean with just that. WD-40 is good because it displaces a lot of the water or whatnot. And after you clean it out, I would put the battery back in, and then I would run it just for maybe like 20-30 seconds to let the oil from the oiling lubrication mechanism get all on the bar and get on the chain, and then store it. And if yours leaks, I'll just dump all the oil out and you can store it for a long time. Should be fine. But make sure you clean it after every use, especially if you're not going to use it for a few days. So that's pretty much it. I'll throw up some clips of using it and it works pretty fine. So anyways, this is pretty much what it looks like. Like I said, I'll definitely recommend clean it and stuff after every time you use it, no problem. I would definitely use it with a 6 or 9 or 12 amp hour battery if you can get it. So it works perfectly well. It does have a little hook right here where you can get one of those things that hooks on and clips onto your belt if you're climbing up to a tree. But I don't think most of the people climbing up to the tree are going to be using this type of chainsaw, since most of those guys are going to be pro and they're going to be mainly on gas. So it works pretty well. It definitely is not as powerful as the Echo, I forgot what the model number was, the one that I've always been using. But it's a very good replacement because you don't have to worry about gas. You don't have to, if you got most of them are 2-cycle, mixing oil and gas, having extra gas around, you don't have to deal with fumes. You don't have to worry about the carburetor gunking up, getting new spark plugs or whatever. You just charge the battery, any Flexvolt battery, put it in, and it works and it's good to go. So this is a very, 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 very good, and this video is not sponsored by anybody, no company, especially not DeWALT or anybody, but it's a very good homeowner chainsaw. There's definitely a good market for this. I know the market in power tools or landscape OPE tools are going to be flooded or already flooding with battery operated tools, but pretty soon they're mostly all going to be battery operated ones except for the gas one, except for some of the professional lineups. So this is a great chainsaw. If you're in the market, I would definitely recommend you get it. There's going to be a head-to-head video coming up comparing a lot of the battery-operated chainsaws, and you can see the power on some of them. But I didn't have a problem cutting through pretty big wet pine, and that was fine. So hope this video's helped you guys out, and I don't know, if you have any questions, let me know. If you want to see different kind of videos, let me know. Just throw it down in the comments below, and then we'll see you guys next time.